Hi, everyone. Welcome. And thank you so much for being here with us tonight to celebrate Edgar Gomez and his debut, High-Risk Homosexual, a memoir. He is here with a friend of Booksmith's and of mine, Baruch Porras-Hernandez. I think we're in for quite a treat this evening, and I thank you all for being here. My name is Evan Karp. I am the events manager for Booksmith. We're an independent bookstore and a mainstay of San Francisco's Haight-Ashbury district since 1976. Without further ado, I'm very happy and humbled to introduce tonight's stars. Baruch Porras-Hernandez is a writer, performer, organizer, professional MC host, curator, stand-up comedian, and author of the chapbooks I Miss You, Delicate, and Lovers of the Deep Fried Circle, both wonderful and both with Sibling Rivalry Press. He had the honor of touring with the legendary Sister Spit Queer Poetry Tour in 2019, is a two-time winner of Literary Deathmatch, a regular host of literary shows for KQED, and was named a writer to watch by 7x7 magazine. His poetry can be found with Right Bloody Publishing, The Tusk, Foglifter, Asaracuz, and many more. He's been an artist in residence at the ground floor at Berkeley Rep, a Lambda Literary Fellow in Poetry and Playwriting. He's been featured in shows with The Rumpus, Writers with Drinks, has performed several times with Radar Productions, Lit Quake, and Quiet Lightning. His solo show, Love in the Time of Piñatas, got a clapping man from the SF Chronicle and was performed to sold-out houses at Epic Party Theater in December of 2019. It's like basically the last thing I remember before the pandemic was just Baruch being fabulous. He's the head organizer of Donde Está Mi Gente, a Latinx literary performance series. He's an immigrant originally from Mexico and is currently the lead artist in a multidisciplinary project that will create new queer Latino superheroes with MACLA, which stands for Movimiento de Arte y Cultura Latinoamericana in San Jose. He lives in San Francisco, and we are delighted to have him here as always. I'm going to give a brief intro to Edgar as well. Oh, hi, Baruch. There he is. And so Edgar, the man, the star of the hour, is a Florida-born writer with roots in Nicaragua and Puerto Rico, a graduate of University of California, Riverside's MFA program. He is a recipient of the 2018 Marcia McQuarrie Award for nonfiction. His writing has been published and anthologized widely in such outlets as Pop Sugar, Long Reads, Best Gay Stories, The Rumpus, and Plowshares. He lives in Queens, New York, where he's saving up for good lotion. Y'all show some love for Edgar in the chat and for Baruch. Edgar, congratulations on the book. And Baruch, thank you so much, so much for leading the conversation. I gladly turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Evan. Welcome, everybody. You heard correctly. My name is Baruch Porras-Hernandez, and I'm so excited to be here hosting this wonderful event for the Booksmith. The Booksmith, if you don't know where that is, it's one of the most legendary bookstores in San Francisco. San Francisco is a very literary city. We have a ton of bookstores. We have a ton of writers. And Booksmith is one of the best bookstores that has always supported writers in the spoken word and novelists, fiction writers. I love them so much. I used to do a monthly show there. And so anytime they ask me to do anything, I am there. I am super happy to be here because I honestly am so excited about this book. Often I get asked to host things where I don't even know what the hell is going on. They just give me something to read and I go, okay, time to act. But not for this book. This book, I finished reading it like last week. It's still stuck with me. It's beautiful, wonderful, very sexy. And the author is also beautiful, wonderful, sexy, smart, and brilliant. So I'm just a little like, cannot wait to chat with this fellow queer Latinx writer. But before we get to the person of the hour, I am supposed to remind all of you that if you buy your copy of High-Risk Homosexual today from the Booksmith, you may get in the mail a set of your very own nipple tassels from the author himself. So buy your copy today of High-Risk Homosexual because you should, because it's good, because this, a big fat Latinx writer, homosexual, has told you to buy it because it made me laugh, it made me cry. And also I think it's really, really good. So buy it today, not just for yourself, but if you have a sad gay in your life We love books. Buy him or her Edgar's book and send it to them as a present because we might go back into lockdown, folks, and you can only masturbate so much. It's very important to also read. So buy your copy of High-Risk Homosexual, please. Now, before we go on, I'm going to cough a little. It's not COVID. I've been tested. I just have a little bit of a cough. So hold on one. Okay, I muted myself. I'm back. Just what happens when you're stuck inside forever. I never thought that I would. A good thing I didn't throw away my glitter curtains. I hosted so many shows during the first year of lockdown that and then when things were getting better, I was like, well, I guess I better put these away. And then part of me was like, maybe I shouldn't. And so I didn't. And now here we are. But I'm very happy to be here. And on that note, it's time for me to do my part of the evening. I have been asked to perform for you all. If you don't know who I am, again, my name is Baruch Porras-Hernandez. Very easy to follow on social media because I think, the only Baruch Porras-Hernandez out there right now. Very weird name, kind of odd last name, very typical last name, Hernandez. What Mexican doesn't have a last name like Hernandez? But if you don't know who I am a writer, performer, and comedian, and so a lot of my stuff is just a mix of everything. And what I have decided to read for you all today is titled A Room of One's Own During COVID-19. Here we go. When I married my husband, I told him we would never get a dog. And now we have 3. And an iguana, and a turtle, 2 cats, a betta fish, and a unicorn. Oh, because they're all imaginary, just like my husband, and my money, and my happiness. I always tell friends, don't be that guy. Don't be that guy that whispers, oh my God, I am so fucking in love with you, to some very hot man's close-up picture of a butthole on his phone, but never says I love you to himself. Don't be me. Basically, don't be me. That's the moral of that story. Don't be me. I missed a lot of things during the first year of lockdown. I miss a lot of things now that we're supposed to still, after all this time, be staying inside. But I mostly miss my friends. I miss them so much that I wrote them a poem. Here we go. If you've never held your best friend's hand while both on your knees as you each go down on a fat-ass D, are you even friends? The answer is no, you are not friends. Every time I do that joke or poem somewhere, there's always some straight dude that is like, psh, psh, that's bullshit. I mean, that's so dumb. I mean, what, just because my buddy and I haven't sucked a dick together, that means we're not friends? And my answer is yes, that means you're not friends. I don't know what to tell you. Be more interesting, heterosexual man. Go suck a dick. At one point during the pandemic, my penis started talking to me, and one day he was like, could you try to stop touching me for 5 fucking minutes? God! At one point during the pandemic, my penis started writing poetry. He started also faking it, so I would leave him alone. At one point, he was like, I wrote you a slam poem. I was like, slam? What is this, the 90s? He said, it is titled 7.5 Tips on How to Survive a Pandemic with a Sad, Pathetic, Perpetually Horny Piece of Shit named Baruch. I was like, go ahead. He did his poem. I gave it a 4.2. They say when you're this depressed, you shouldn't do drugs. But the other day, when I was depressed and on drugs, I started thinking, and then I started thinking, and then I thought some more, and then I thought some more, and then I got even more sad because I thought to myself, even if I survive this terrifying corona pandemic, I'm probably going to die anyway. From all the dicks I'm gonna cram into my mouth when this is over. I might even create a new black hole from the sheer pressure, speed, and strength of my gay lungs, sucking all the dicks towards my slut mouth faster than the speed of light and sound and gravity, making everything warp into itself, creating a new black hole. and destroying the world. Or I might just go back to being a fat gay guy nobody wants to marry. My therapist the other day said, I think you might be addicted to self-sabotage. I said, I think you're right. We should definitely have sex. The end. All right, that was it for my part of tonight's entertainment. I hope you laughed a little. I hope that maybe you were scared a little. I hope that maybe you were turned on a little. You never know. But if you're wondering, people out there, I am single, bilingual, and ready for marriage. I'm not even ready to mingle. I need to survive the next part of this pandemic, and I need a man with money who is into fat Mexicans. But enough about me. Real quick, though, if you do like what I sound like and what I write, I do have 2 books available, still for sale from Sibling Rivalry Press. Just follow any link on any of my social media. One of them is titled Lovers of the Deep Fried Circle, fun poems about being a Mexican immigrant who loves donuts and dick. And the other one is titled I Miss You Delicate, sad poems about being a Mexican immigrant who loves donut and dick. All right, now it is time for everyone to please take a deep breath. Let it out. Touch your nipples a little bit if you're into that. And get ready to, even though we can't hear you, I want all of you at home to give a big, warm round of applause to the writer of the hour. Please welcome to the Zoom Booksmith stage, the writer, author of High-Risk Homosexual, Edgar Gomez! Oh, hi!
Hey, Baruch, thank you so much for reading that just really, really vulnerable, touching piece of poetry. Sorry.
Oh, honey, are you okay?
I'm gonna be real with y'all. I'm really, really stressed out. I was supposed to wear this like really cool outfit, but like it got lost in the mail. It was really, really stupid. I'm really. Do you hear that, or is that coming from my computer?
Wait, I think I do hear that.
Are y'all playing?
Where's that coming from? It's good though.
On. Can you stop the music?
Is that me or is that you?
On. What are y'all?
Oh yes! Oh my God! Woo! Holy shit! You look amazing! Oh yeah, thank you. Gracias. No, turn around. Let us see what the back looks like.
No, my whole ass is out because well, you know what? You set the tone. My penis doesn't fit into this J-Lo thong. So I had to like MacGyver something. And basically my ass is gonna be out all night.
Hey, what do you think we're here for, Edgar? You're writing?
Who reads, nerds?
Oh my God, you look amazing. That outfit is fantastic.
Thank you. It's just something I had in the closet.
Oh, this whole thing? It's just, something.
It's actually really funny. I was talking to my friend Mark about what I wanted to wear to my book launch. And I was like, wouldn't it be really funny if I wore J-Lo's Versace dress? And because gay culture, he was like, oh yeah, girl, my friend has one. And I was like, what? So yeah, this is it.
Oh man.
Well, yeah, I just want to say thank you for real for hosting this and for sharing your art with us. And thank you, Evan and the Booksmith, also for hosting this. Y'all, this event cost $100. So we need to sell $100 worth of books. And unless you have anything you want to say, Baruch, I can also just jump into the reading.
Yes, please give us more. I cannot wait.
Okay.
But real quick, you look really good. Okay.
Thank you. So the The other reason that I really wanted to wear this dress is because I talk a lot about J-Lo in my book. And so I'm gonna read a little section that sort of deals with J-Lo. I'm gonna have alcohol because I need it. This is the most chaotic event.
I love it.
Okay, okay. So I'll be reading from High-Risk Homosexual. I was using a lighter as a bookmark because, of course. And so this is from chapter 2, a chapter called Straight Acting. And all you need to know for this passage to make sense is that there's 2 things that I reference. Chapter 1 deals with a trip that I took to Nicaragua when I was 13. I used to go to Nicaragua every summer, but this time it was different because instead of going with my brother, I kind of got dropped off on my own to stay with my uncles. And long story short, something happens with me and one of my uncle's former housekeepers that makes me realize that I am super, super gay. And before I was kind of in denial, but after what happens with me and her, I realized that like, yeah, you were just fooling yourself and you are super gay. And then the second thing is that the very next year after that trip, I got expelled from high school for weed. So I talk about that later in this chapter, but I sort of reference it before I super go into that in detail.
I think you mean for being cool. That's why you got kicked out.
I wrote a book. I don't know how cool I am. Like
it's very cool. Okay.
Oh, and then also my mom worked at Starbucks. Okay. Let's go. So this is Straight Acting. I was waiting for a love like in the movies. One of the romantic comedies I spent hours watching every night when mom and my stepdad fell asleep. After their arguments about rent and putas and me dissolved into gentle snores, and I could finally pretend I lived alone in our little blue house in Orlando. As soon as their bedroom door closed, I would move quickly, slipping out from beneath my covers and padding barefoot on the cold tile into the kitchen. From a cabinet above the stove, I'd pull out one of the bags of Starbucks dark roast mom stole from work, then brew myself an extra strong batch. If I could see through the pot, it was too weak. If it was thick and black, I'd take it to the couch, burrito myself with a blanket, and pound back mug after mug, sweat spreading across my forehead as the caffeine flooded through my veins. I don't know where I learned how to do this, but it worked, so long as I pushed on. I drank until my throat was raw, until my fingertips went numb and my heartbeat crossed from panic into euphoria. One more sip and my vision fogged up from dehydration. Another, and at last, my life faded to black. Dio's housekeeper and the trip to Nicaragua. Getting expelled from high school the very next year when a friend caught selling weed named me as an accomplice. What the superintendent told mom shortly before sending me to my new school, Oak Ridge. Just, he'd sighed, watch him. When I was buzzed on coffee, the past disappeared, and all I could focus on was keeping my hands still enough to scroll through the DVR, which I'd filled entirely with rom-coms the second my brother Hector went away to college in Miami. My favorites featured ethnically ambiguous women, Jennifer Lopez, who were victims of circumstance poor, and overcame the odds through sheer force of will, were rescued by rich white dudes. Made in Manhattan, Monster-in-Law, Enough. No one needed to tell me Jennifer and I were the same person. I was half Puerto Rican, we were both tan, with similar last names, Gomez, Lopez. We could have easily traded places. I was the damsel in distress. It was only a matter of time before my rich white dude came for me. On her way out to her opening shifts at the airport Starbucks, mom occasionally, oh, by the way, my mom worked the red eye shift, so like at 3 a.m. On her way out to her opening shifts at the airport Starbucks, mom occasionally stopped to watch a bit of the movie I'd chosen. I poured her a cup of coffee and the two of us would sit there in silence while on screen, Jennifer got her heel caught in sewer grates, tripped on sidewalk cracks, men always waiting there to scoop her up. This late at night or early in the morning for mom, both of us were too tired to do more than watch. I wasn't her disappointing son. She wasn't my overwhelmed mother. We were girlfriends at the movies, losing ourselves for a few hours. 3:30 passed. She kissed me goodbye on the forehead. 4 o'clock. Time to get ready for school. Oh, also I'm in high school. First, I drew X's on my hands. That way I could blame my exhaustion on spending all night at a made-up bar. Then I put on the baggiest shirt I could find, cinched my pants around my waist using a shoelace, and accessorized with anywhere from 2 to 5 rosaries I paid for with money I made selling candy bars at school. Lastly, I tried really hard to go to the bathroom. This step was the most important, more than my costume, because on campus, I insisted to anyone who would listen that I never, ever pooped. I just sweat everything out, I'd say. It was kind of my thing, the trick I used to distract people from what was right in front of them. No, I wasn't a fag. I was just weird or hetero-adjacent, like Prince. Drained from pulling another all-nighter, I sleepwalked through my morning classes, dozing in the back during math and science, dreaming about having a boyfriend. By noon, the caffeine's narcotic effect would wear off, and I'd wake up both broken and relieved to be alone, my secret still safe. Wandering through the hallways at Oak Ridge, my life faded up again in sharp, biting clarity. I wasn't Jennifer Lopez. We were never trading places. No one was coming for me. Even if there was, how would he ever see me while I was in the closet? Yeah.
One thing I said to myself while you were reading Waiting for Your White Man, I was like, girl, I'm still waiting. 40. I'm 40 and still waiting. Just kidding. I feel like a lot of times the moral of those stories is be your own rich white man. Figure it out.
Okay.
Or find 3, why just one? Once you find your gay power, find 3. Thank you so much for reading that. That's such a wonderful way to, I feel, introduce folks at home who are watching into what this book is going to be. You mentioned your mom, you mentioned your dreams, you mentioned how the main character sees themselves. Of course, you mentioned J-Lo, which is wonderful. And before we go on, I want to congratulate you. I just, like I said, finished the book last week, and I love it. I think it's so wonderful. And also, I'm like, whoever, I forgot who thought to get me to interview you for this, because it's a little too perfect. As I was reading, I was like, who is this bitch? And how did you live my life? I mean, I'm also 100 years older than you, but the similarities are a little creepy, a little eerie, because let's just say my similar story to is it a thing? First of all, is it a thing? Like, I hope it's not a thing. But when I would spend the summers in Mexico, one summer when I was 16, my mother was the one who instigated that shit. My uncle, her favorite brother, grabbed me one night and was like, "Vámonos, mijo, I'm gonna get you drunk." And I was like, "What? But I'm only 16." And he was like, "It's a rite of passage for Latino men. Your dad's not around, so I'm your uncle. I'm gonna get you fucked up." And I was like, well, okay. And then my mother literally pokes her head out from the living room, and she's, having some, her drinks with my aunts. And she goes, "Fuck getting him drunk. Take him to a table dance. Make him a man." And I thought my mom was joking, and she was not. So we literally had this weird, similar, also with the door lock experience. So I kind of want to, should we start a support group for gay little Latin boys who's been locked in rooms with prostitutes by their uncles? Because what the fuck?
I mean, there's so much about that I could talk about. It's weird because years after, this is a memory that I super repressed.
Me too.
And that I only started unpacking as I was writing this book, really. And as I was writing it, I was almost gaslighting myself, where I was surely, I mean, and I say it in the book, I don't know how much of it was pre-orchestrated, whether my mom had something to do with it, whether it was just kind of like spontaneous or anything like that. But in my mind, I was like, I don't know, my mom really, like, she really loves me. I don't think that she would do that. But then I've talked to a lot of my friends, and just like you said, this is like an experience that is super, super, super common. And so I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know where to end up with that. And the other thing is that, and I was telling my boyfriend about this recently, is that it seems like when I tell people what happened, when I tell straight people at least, they seem kind of unfazed.
Right.
When I tell other gay people, they're like, "Oh fuck."
Yeah.
I think a part of that is that like they can't like imagine what is like traumatic about that.
Right.
If it was like if I was talking to a straight guy and I was like, "What if you were locked when you were 13 into a room with like an adult man who was supposed to have sex with you?" Like they only imagine like the woman, and they're like, "Oh, this is not a big deal." But I'm like, no, what about if it were something that you did not
Yeah.
want to do? And then they'd be like, "Oh my God, that is crazy."
And too young to comprehend, too young to even like. I was really lucky that kind of like the woman I had an encounter with, she was like, "Don't worry, honey, I'm not gonna tell your uncle you're gay." And I was like, "Oh, thank God." And we stayed up all night talking about The Craft and Clueless because it was the 90s. But thank God for sex workers who can just, smell us gay boys from a mile away. She kind of, I think she maybe knew. And who knows if here's what's funny that I try to see it now is, yes, it was wrong. And yes, there's a lot of anger towards it. But the way I get over it is that I think they were just trying to help. They had no idea how to deal with the gay problem. Because I asked my male cousins, "Did that happen to you?" "No, I would have killed for that to happen to me." I asked my brother, who's straight, "Did one of our uncles ever lock you in a room with a prostitute?" And he was like, "No." And I went, "Oh, so was that just done? Is that just done to gay boys to fix us? Because holy shit, we should start a support group." But that's what I feel like is so special about this book. I feel like your book made the young, closeted, queer Latino kid who thought I was the only one like me in the whole world feel less alone, even though it's literally 20 years after I felt that way. And so I think your book is so special and is going to make so many people. That famous Frida Kahlo quote? I forgot. I'm going to fuck it up. But it's something about how when she makes art to tell the other people who are just as weird as her that are out there, I'm also here. I'm also exist. And you're not alone. And I feel like your book is literally doing that because I kind of like, it was like 12-year-old Baruch was reading it. 14-year-old Baruch was reading it, and I watched those same J-Lo movies, and I also had those dreams. But I love how you just dive in. So I really hope folks at home buy this book because I feel like it's not just a memoir. You really get in there. You tackle some amazing stuff. And one of my favorite things that I feel, and I'm not going to reveal anything, like folks, buy the book. Like I'm not going to spoil anything. But there's a beautiful gem that I, of course, wrote down when it talks about capturing like what it's like to be a young queer person, young gay person of color, or just a young gay person. One of my favorite quotes from the book is, and in this part, I feel like it's you're seeing other gay guys be sexual. And I think, I don't remember if it's in the sex club, but you're seeing other gay guys be sexual. And you're very hesitant and very scared. But then you say, heard giggles, felt jealousy rising in my chest. And then you go, "Do you love each other?" I wanted to ask. When did you stop being scared of all of this? How? And then my favorite, "Please show me." That hit me so hard because in that one little sentence, you literally grasp so much of what it's like when you're walking out into the world, especially the whole "please show me." Because, so many of us didn't grow up with queer role models, queer mentors. Either, like you mentioned in your book, they were decimated by the crisis, or they were told, if you talk to a young person, you're a child molester. So I feel like your generation and my generation did not have gay guys telling us, by the way, sex isn't going to kill you. you're going to be fine. You can be worthy of love and be a slut at the same time. There's nothing wrong. You can be both. But we didn't have that. And so I feel like this book really captures that anguish. And I love that your character, and I know it's not a character, it's a memoir. I love that you were still fearless. That's what I love about this book, is that you, even though your character goes through some rough shit, at one point I was reading and I was like, oh no, Pequeño Edgar, ¿por qué? I'm just like, oh my goodness. But he keeps going, keeps exploring, keeps fighting to try to figure themselves out and try to find that joy, that freedom that they first saw when, and I love the moment where it was so beautiful. You're up on the roof and you see those sex workers, those possibly trans Latinas in the alleyway smoking. And I love that you were just like, why are they so happy? I want that. And I feel like so many of us are chasing that. And a lot of us cisgendered gay boys don't have the, if I am not myself, I'm going to die, that a lot of trans people do, which is why I feel like sometimes they find those gems because they have no other choice. A lot of us, cisgender queers have the safety of staying in the closet a little bit longer, I feel. And so we have that turmoil. But I love that your book showed all of that. I mean, I'm going to embarrass you a little bit more with some other gems, but don't worry, I'm not going to. One of my favorite things you say is, I'd done a good job at hiding that I was a swarm of bats in a trench coat. That is.
But look at me now. I'm a swarm of bats in a Versace dress.
But yes, grown up, glown up, graduated, PhD. It's beautiful. And that's what I love about this. People are going to read this book, hopefully queer people or anyone's going to read this book. And they're going to see that you turned out really well. You're fine. You look amazing. But I like what you said later when you were talking about your mother. And people are like, how did that happen? It's a lot of work. Like, clearly you as a writer and as an artist have done a lot of fighting and a lot of work to look as fabulous as you do now. And a lot of us queer people, especially a lot of us queer artists of color, have to do that, which is why some of us look amazing and some of us look like an old Liza Minnelli with a beard. But that's fine. That's fine.
You are a model.
No, but I really love how funny the book is. I'm telling everyone I know to get it because you do dive deep into some difficult shit, but your voice is still hilarious. Like, which is the one I'm looking for? It's the one about, here we go. It's the one where you're talking about how a lot of these gay, dick-sucking businesses have to pay taxes. And then your voice says, but still, I couldn't help wonder how many sidewalks in public schools were funded by two men giving each other blowjobs in a hot tub. And I just started laughing so loud in my living room when I was reading that. Because I was like, oh my God, that's so true.
That's from when I went to a bathhouse, and to get in, you have to pay blah, blah, blah. And then the entrance fee is taxed. And I was just surprised that there was a tax on that.
We have done a lot for our community by sucking dick and paying our taxes.
Yes.
Another thing I want to bring up real quick is I love later when you capture that really jarring moment. The quote is, to go from if you sleep with someone, you'll die to just kidding, be a hoe was such an earth-shattering shift that I still couldn't believe one pill a day was all it took. I laughed so hard at that quote because that literally encapsulates the weird roller coaster a lot of us have gone through. I mean, the first time I ever heard of anything gay, not anything positive, not anything queer, I literally heard, oh, there are people who are gay and they're gonna die of AIDS. That's what I heard in Mexico. An older cousin, because I think someone called someone a maricon, and I was like, "What's a maricon?" And one of my 18-year-old cousins was like, "Oh, they're really sad people that are lonely, and then whenever they if they fall in love, they die of AIDS or something." I remember being 5, going like, "Whoa!" But I do remember being 5 and thinking that was kind of badass.
But you know what? Earlier you said that one of the things that you found cool about the book is that crazy shit would happen to me and I would keep going. What you are describing is crazy shit that happened to you, and you were still like, you know what? I'm still gonna do it.
Yeah, maybe I should kiss. I mean, I might die, but I'll kiss a dude. You know? It's like Atreyu from A Never-Ending Story is really cute. Maybe he's worth a death kiss. I don't know. Maybe that's why later my favorite X-Men character is Rogue from the X-Men, because, you know, one kiss. He could kill her boyfriend. As a little gay boy, I was like, that's me. But yeah, I really enjoyed from the stories you shared about your mother, your brother. I mean, I just feel like people are gonna get so much out of this book, and see that it does. Like, not all of us are blessed with. I laugh all the time when I meet a white queer person that is like, I haven't spoken to my mother in 10 years. Oh God, what did she do? She didn't like it when I came out. And I was like, that's it? That's it? And I started laughing. She didn't try to kill you. She didn't try to like strangle you or break the door down. Like she didn't try to, right? And I love that your book shows that for a lot of us, that's not an option. A lot of Latino boys, our mothers are literal, like our goddesses, and we're not going to just let homophobia take them away from us. Our mothers were our superheroes in our lives. Our mothers were often our saviors. Sometimes our bullies because of toxic masculinity in society. But I feel like seeing the relationship with your mom in this book is just such a gift. And I love that later you address it in the book. And I feel like folks who are struggling with that maybe at home should read it. Or if you are a little gay boy yourself who hasn't spoken to your mother for a while, give her this book. Because I saw a lot of your mom and my like, maybe they should hang out. We should like put them in a room together and be like, go have coffee. Yeah, no. But I feel like now it's time to go towards the questions. Are you down for us? We can be serious writers for a moment and stop talking about moms and dicks. And I can do the interview part of this thing. Are you down?
Yeah, let's be super serious while my ass is half out and I'm in a group. Versace dress. I do want to say really quickly, after this, we're going to do like a quick audience Q&A. So if y'all want to put your questions in the chat, that would be really helpful.
Yes, please. We want to get all your questions for Edgar Gomez tonight. I will read them out loud and then Edgar will answer them. So please put them in the chat so that Evan can let us know what the questions are. If you have a question after, our, very serious interview. Let's see. Okay, here we go. First question. As a serious writer yourself, what hot gay celebrity would you bang right now if you could?
Okay, the first one that jumped to mind was this Puerto Rican rap or trap star named Villano Antillano, who is so sexy, and yeah, that's who I would have sex with.
Oh my God, everybody's gonna Google him tonight.
Oh, they're trans, so it's she.
Ooh, she, okay, nice. Yeah. Mine would be Harvey Guillem from What We Do in the Shadows. Next question. What book are you reading right now that is giving you life?
Oh my God, what am I reading right now? I'm reading what I think it's called When I Was You by, oh my God, what is this lady's name? She does Latino USA and all that. But, and it is a good book. You know what? The book that's giving me a lot of life right now is Audre Lorde's Sister Outsider, Collected Essays and Speeches.
Good.
I'm reading it very, very slowly because she is like so much smarter than me that it takes me, I have to like read an essay and then spend like a week unpacking what she's talking about. But once I do unpack it, I'm like, oh my God, you're like, you just like shifted my worldview.
Oh, totally.
Especially the essay she has on, it's either on like ecstasy, not like the drug. That's probably not the right word she uses, but whatever. I'll tweet about it or something.
As a writer, is there any snack that you like to snack on while you're writing?
Poppers.
Poppers, good answer. Is there any way that you treat yourself after you've done, when you're done with a project or anything, like any meal or activity that you like to do when you're done as a writer?
Yes, I like to, I like to light a fat blunt
Yes.
because I don't smoke when I'm writing, or like I try to like limit how much I smoke because it fully does make me dumb.
Mm.
But then as soon as I like send a story, I'm like, okay, I can be dumb now.
Boom. Time to be dumb. Time to relax. What's another quick question? I mean, I feel like I know you so well now. Now that I've read your book, but don't worry, I'm not gonna. Sometimes people come up to me after they read my books and they go, "How's Levi?" And I'm like, "Who the fuck are you? How's your brother?" I'm like, "Oh, right, you read my book." But inquiring minds wants to know. Oh, you have a boyfriend. You said you had a boyfriend.
Yes, I do. They just left.
Oh, yay! Well,
They were sick of this.
congratulations. Wait, what?
So they were sick of this.
Oh,
No, they're
well,
setting up. We're having like drinks at this gay bar called French Tavern after. And so they went to like set up a little display.
oh, yay! Oh, that's how'd you guys meet?
It's
Was it a rom-com? Was it like
It
was
is.
your heel stuck in a grate in the street?
We met at a queer free food pantry in Queens during the pandemic where we were both volunteers.
Oh my goodness.
But I wish I could just say grinder because it's like really, it is corny.
No, I mean, people at home that have read the book are gonna, my heart just, I mean, it's kind of not there, but it got a little bit bigger. That's beautiful. Oh my goodness, yay! Okay, and my last question, because then we're gonna go towards the audience question is dream project. Like if you could do any project ever that would pay you the big bucks, like, the $1 million, I mean, the dream project that you would be like, like right now, I want to be like J-Lo's joke writer or something, like the dream job, what would it be?
So I have this fantasy project that, okay, it would be, if it's like big bucks, it would be like HBO. And so I want to write a TV show set in Queens called Queens, about gay people in Queens.
Yes, that's awesome. So people
And
out
Queens
there,
is really, really gay, by the way. Like people don't know.
yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, like these are I'm gonna name the gay bars within like 3 blocks of me. Hombres,
Perfect. Hombres, love it already.
True Colors,
Beautiful.
El Trio,
That's my favorite. I'm going to that one. Yes, bitch.
Vida,
Vida.
and then perhaps the gayest and non-gayest of all is Friends.
Oh, that's the name of a bar?
Right now, yeah. Friends.
Oh, that's cute. I'm sure some old like gay guy was like, I'm gonna name it Friends, so that sad gay guys can be like, I'm gonna go see my friends later, when they're really gonna go. Those are some great names for bars. Over here, we only have like, I don't know, Midnight Sun, Twin Peaks, The Eagle,
Oasis.
Oasis. Well, Oasis is legendary. They're more of like they're a bar, but they're also like a cabaret performance, like legendary place. The only one that has kind of a fun name is like Moby Dick's and Hole in the Wall. Like Hole in the Wall is a fun name for our San Francisco gay bars. I feel like we need more though. We need more gay bars with more glory holes. That would be my campaign if I ran.
I want more seedy, sketchy gay bars in San Francisco. I mean, the last chapter of the book, I went to San Francisco. I was like basically looking for that. And there was like one like part of that chapter where it's like I was like walking around looking for like the seedy shit. And I saw like across the street this like window that had like stickers of bears and like diapers and shit. And I was like, oh, that's gonna be good in there. And then I crossed the street and it was a daycare.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay.
I think I know which daycare you're talking about too. So just amongst us girls, next time text me. Like I wish you should have just asked the friend. Like when I was reading that, I was like, oh no. And next time you come up, I will take you and your boyfriend to because I went to Vegas once and I was like, where is it? Where's the sin? Where's the sin? There isn't 3 dudes coming on my face right now as I'm doing a poetry reading.
Of El Trio.
Right? I mean, but I'll just come over and I'll draw you a map of all the like gross things and wonderful and fun and joyous queer things you can do in San Francisco. It's just, I mean, we could talk about that all day, but back to you. So you want to do a show called Queens for HBO. Would it be a drama comedy or a drama?
Dramedy.
Nice, nice. Well, we have a question from the chat. Let's see. Minda Honey wants to know, Edgar, will you host a Twitter watch of the new JLo movie dropping on Valentine's?
Sure. Yes. I'm gonna be that obnoxious bitch at the movie theater with like the full like phone in front of my face, like a giant, like a glow,
Yes.
distracting everybody. Yes.
Excuse me. Will McLeod wants to know, my question for Edgar is, how has this day felt for you?
Like 15 seconds after you take a whiff of poppers and like the world starts like shifting beneath your feet and you get like these hot flashes. It's just been that like every 10 minutes today.
That's wonderful. I really should get into poppers. I'm like the last gay on the planet that hasn't gotten into it. But anywho, Manuel.
That you're not?
I've just never
like
been
I met a
into
couple
them.
of people that don't do poppers and I'm like, good for you, like good for your brain cells.
I guess. But I don't like missing out. I'm just like, I want to have fun too. They got to just invent poppers that smell like donuts, because then that'll be me all over the place. Manuel Batista wants to know, Edgar, who is going to play us when they make the book into a Netflix series?
Okay, so Manuel Batista is Arturo, who is in the chapter about burlesque. Who's gonna play us? Arturo is gonna be played by, so he's Cuban, gay. Who's Cuban and gay? Camila Cabello.
Yes.
And I will be played by the lady that played Yolanda in the Selena movie.
Ooh, I will be played by Rosie O'Donnell. We have another question from Allison Jane Jimenez. Is there any way to support any of your future works? That's a great question. I also would like to know how we can keep supporting your work and your literary voice, because it is amazing.
That is a good question. I would say just like 3 times a day, just close your eyes and be like, positive energy towards Edgar.
Yes. Yes.
Or follow me on Twitter, so that it looks like I'm famous. Mm-hmm. And then I can sell things.
On that note, I'm going to tell the folks what your email address is, right? Because if they buy a copy of High-Risk Homosexual, you will send them some nipple tassels. So Edgar's email address is easy to remember, folks. It's otroedgargomez@gmail.com. That means another Edgar Gomez, or the other Edgar Gomez @gmail.com. It's spelled OTRO, edgargomez@gmail.com. Very easy to remember, and it's going to be in the chat, of course, otroedgargomez@gmail.com. Folks, if you're at home, take out your phones and follow Edgar on Instagram. They have a very fun Instagram. They're also on the Twitter. Follow them, please, and give them all of the likes, because they're wonderful and this book is fantastic. I have my own question for you as a fellow writer, because, a lot of us, some of us that haven't put a book out, I feel like one day I was like, maybe I should finish my novel, and then all my friends had their books out, and I was like, wait, how did you fucking do that?
What are you talking about? You have 2
Well, those are my poetry books, and they're little chap books that were very easy to actually, it was very hard to put them together. But what made you finally what put you over that hurdle? Was it a person, an experience? What finally pushed you? Because I of course I have a book, and enough about me though, but there's something keeping me from really going to that, actually making it happen. So for this one, for High-Risk Homosexual, what would you say is the thing that finally made it happen?
I mean, on a practical logistical level, it's that I just, I lucked out and I got an amazing agent on Twitter. Danielle, if you're watching, thank you so much for these flowers. And Sarah, thank you for the champagne. That's just like on a logistical level. But I think it's just like often when I am at like my most like rock bottom, and I think maybe you'll see this in the book, almost like a crab in a bucket, I'm like desperate to claw my way out of this rock bottom place. And I remember that, I mean, this is where the logistical and like the like dreamier parts sort of merge. I moved to New York with basically like zero money, no job. Immediately started working at this Mexican restaurant as a cashier slash a host. And my friend Natasha Scheel was like, hey, Edgar, you should participate in this Twitter, like getting an agent event. And basically I was just like, I felt very, very like sad all the time. I was like, I'm in the city of my dreams and I'm just like fucking cleaning. And it was like this very gentrifier Mexican restaurant in Park Slope.
I mean, it's in the East Coast, so
yeah, I was selling like $18 esquite, if you know what I mean.
Mío, no.
And so I was just like, wow, my life is so bleak. How do I like get out of this? Let me spend every single waking like free second that I have writing the best book that you can, so that you can like, be somebody, I don't know. So that you don't have to work here, at least.
And also so people can see, I mean, you're very talented. One thing I noticed, well, several things, but I feel like everybody thinks that because I'm a writer and a performer that I'm very smart. I'm not. And sometimes when someone gives me their book, I just, fucking like, it's hard for me to get through it. And often though, it's not because I'm dumb, it's because sometimes the writing is clunky and I don't know, I'm lazy. I don't like powering through hard to read. I've never read Proust or whatever, but I loved your book. I was like, I couldn't put it down. I thought the voice was very interesting. I love what's that word? The personality. I feel like you are one of those writers where like, I felt like I knew you. Halfway through the book, I was like, this is someone I just, especially when when you were little, I just wanted to like scoop you up and be like, it's gonna be okay. Cause like, and I love how vulnerable you lead with the vulnerable. You're also very funny, and congratulations on this fantastic book. I can't wait to get an actual physical copy. I ordered it from Fabulosa Books, the gay bookstore here in the Castro. So I can have a physical copy myself. We're going to read it in my book club next month. Is there anyone that you feel
getting one in the mail, by the way? You should be getting one in the mail soon.
Oh, great. Oh, okay. Well, awesome.
Yeah, I'll hit up my publisher.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, no, I mean, I bought it with the company card because I run a gay book club out of my work. I work for the San Francisco AIDS Foundation. But is there anyone, aside from a publisher, that in your life helped you really get this book going or supported you through the process of making this book a reality that you'd like to thank publicly on this Zoom show?
You know what? Let me not do like a full like Academy Award speech because I can name like so many people that like truly saved my life.
Name three.
I'm gonna name one because this is my number one, and and it's my best friend Arturo, who just like is the first queer Latinx person that I knew. Even when he wasn't out and I clocked him in middle school and I was like, bitch, we're gonna be friends. And the story of our friendship is really funny because like, I clocked him and I was like, this motherfucker is gay. And I have
like you do.
Mm-hmm. And I think I was really, really gay and maybe he didn't want to be seen with me or something or whatever, but I like stuck to him like a chicle. And every day after school, I would straight up follow him home from school. in a non-creepy way. I would follow it, like I would be next to him. I wouldn't like be like behind a tree or something. And eventually I wore him down. And I think that truly without that friendship, I don't know where I would be. So I'm gonna say, yeah, my best friend Abdul.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's so wonderful. Sometimes it is our friends that brings out the best in us and bring beautiful things like this book to the world. I think we have one last. James Swado wants to know what inspired you and motivated you to first write this book. Like, what was the first thing that made you write this book?
I mean, when I started, like I've always been like kind of a storyteller. I know that sounds like, but I have been. And the medium that I started in was more screenwriting, because I did TV production, and I do talk about that in the book too. But it was just really expensive. Like, I was writing really gay shit, and I was like, I don't think this is ever going to be produced. And basically, I was like, what can I do that is like free? And so I turned to writing, not like screenwriting, but like writing like long form narrative nonfiction, I guess. And I basically just took this creative nonfiction class. And that was in undergrad. And that's truly when I started writing this book. The chapter Boys Club about going to a bathhouse, I wrote that for that creative nonfiction class because I needed to turn in some creative nonfiction. And yeah, that's how I first started doing it. And then what motivated me was pettiness, honestly.
Yes.
The idea, I'm like, I feel like I say this all the time, but I'm somebody that does not like to be told what I can't do. And so, I mean, I'm gonna be real. I like knew that I was talented. I knew that I had a good story to tell. And so I was like, fuck these haters who are telling me that like, my book is never gonna be published, that no one is gonna buy this even if it is. I was like, I'm gonna do it anyway, and I'm gonna make myself the main character. And you know what? This is what really motivated me. I heard this piece of advice. You could call it advice or whatever. And it wasn't even about writing. It was about like stand-up comedy. And it wasn't to me, it was like one comic telling it to another. I think it was Sarah Silverman. And the advice was you have to make yourself undeniable. And so I was like, that's what I'm gonna do. Everyone is telling me no, but I'm gonna write something so good that like, even if you personally don't like it, you are like not gonna be able to deny it. Cut to, we're sending my book out to like try to sell it, and a bunch of people did deny it. But Soft School is that girl. That's my publisher, and you know, they saw that I did have something, and you know, I feel very much like Julia Roberts and Pretty Woman. I want to go to every publisher and be like, big mistake, huge, because it's like people are liking it so far. I mean, it's literally the publication day, so like, let me not jinx that. But yeah, that's what motivated me. I was like, I don't like being told what to do, and so I'm just gonna make myself undeniable.
Perfect, and thank God that you did, and that is good advice, because I loved it. We have a little like I wish I could talk to you forever, but maybe we'll hang out sometime. I go to the East Coast sometimes. One of my questions was like, because you know, I also write a lot about myself. So did you change a lot of the names in the book?
I changed some names. I didn't change other names. Yo, if you got the book, in chapter 1, there's 2 uncles, and I named an uncle one thing, and then last minute I changed the name through find and replace. I did find and replace, but there was an accent mark, and so you might be confused for like truly 1 second. Just be chill. Chill.
Hey, nothing's 100% perfect. I totally okay. The project I'm working on right now, my illustrator keeps going like, wait, did you realize that one of the characters has 3 different names? And I went, oh, fuck, yeah, that's because I changed the name. I forgot to go back and like re-edit.
I
Just
mean,
stuff that happens when you're a writer.
It's not that big of a deal. And you know what? Every single writer that I've talked to with a published book has been like, yeah, there's like a couple of typos or a couple of things that I wish I could change. It's really only things that we notice.
It happens. It doesn't matter. Like the one nerdy person's like, I found some typos in your book. Is never going to write a book, and if they are, it's probably not going to be that good. One last question for me, because that I struggle with a lot as also just the part where you were like, you know, you're in the book where you're like trying to hide like nail polish and stuff and steal your mom's makeup. Like even to this day as a writer performer, there are some shows that I don't invite my mother to. My mother is like super pro gay, super gay friendly, trans ally, loves that I'm gay. But when I wear makeup, she still tells me that it makes her a little sad. And then she'll make a joke. She'll make a little joke. It's like, it's not that I don't like it when you wear makeup. It's that I wish you were better at it. I'm like, damn, Mom. Okay. But like, how is your mom with this book now? Were you worried with all the stuff? Because you put a lot of good shit in there. And sometimes I have to ask myself if this gets back to my mother, because I talk about my parents all the time in my performance. Is it going to upset her? And sometimes you just make that choice, you know? I make that choice, well, if it upsets her, I'll deal with it. And sometimes I'm like, you know what? I don't want to put her through this pain. So there's sometimes that so was that a struggle with you? And how is your mom with this book now? Like, are you going to let her read it?
First of all, let me take a sip of this.
Yeah. I'll join you. Mm-hmm.
What is it? So I'm gonna be honest, like I'll start with saying my mom is accepting of me as a queer person. And we are definitely like on a journey together. As of late, she's been super, super supportive in a way that's like really surprised me. I very, very recently, I want to say last month, like I never like really brought like boyfriends around her, or if I did, I would just say like, oh, this is my friend or something like that. But very, very recently, I finally, for the very first time, was like, I have a boyfriend. And I showed her a picture of like my man or whatever. And it was kind of awkward. And then it was like I was visiting her, so I like was like, okay. Then I went to my room, and she came into my room, and it was like another corny Lifetime moment where she like hugged me, and she was like, I love you. And this was like a month ago, and now we just like openly talk about him on the phone, and it's not a big deal. It helps that he just sent her a bunch of like Tylenol and shit.
Good boyfriend.
Yeah, he has health insurance. And so when you have health insurance, there's this thing called like FSA where they give you a credit card with a bunch of money on it. And he didn't know either, and he like sent her a bunch of like, I don't know, like health shit.
Oh.
So she loves him now. But regarding my book, so for me, that was my first step, just to like kind of gauge where she is in terms of my queerness. As for my book, I have not told her that I wrote this book. And I have actually an article coming out in 2 days where I talk a little bit more about why I haven't talked to her about the book yet. But telling her about my boyfriend was sort of like the first step. Mm-hmm. And it's definitely something that I want to do within like the next like 3 months or something. But it does make me really nervous. Something that I really, really appreciate is that a lot of the people who have read the book thus far are like, oh my God, I love your mom in this. Like, she is like such a like authentic human being.
Yes.
Like, it's like clear that you have a lot of love for her and all that.
And she has a lot of love for you too.
I hope, and I really, really hope that is clear. Like, that is like probably the thing that like scares me the most, is that people will misinterpret her, because though she did do some things that fully traumatized me, through writing the book, I was able to come to a place where I understood why she was acting the way she was acting. And I just found a lot of new empathy and love for her. And it really, really made me appreciate our relationship. But, oh my God, where was I going with this? But I mean, maybe you know how Latinx moms are, right? Like I mean, maybe this is how all people are. Like you can say 100 great things about somebody, but you say one kind of like ambiguously bad thing, and that's the only thing that they will like focus on. And so my biggest fear is that my mom will read chapter 1 where, you know, that thing happens, and chapter 3 where, you know, the thing with the door happens, and only focus on those things and not focus on like immediately after the door thing happens. There's that, you know, she tells me I love you, perdóname, blah, blah, blah. And just all of the like me like really trying really, really hard to show how much I love her in the rest of the book. And so I have to find a way to like prepare her by being like, there are some things, like I am honest in the book about how like difficult being queer was sometimes, but you are like not a villain in this book. You are like truly my hero. I don't know how you did what you did. Thank you so much. And I just have to figure out a way to do that. And recently she's just had some health issues and it just has not felt like an appropriate time to fucking be like, I wrote a fucking memoir, you know? So I'm trying to figure it all out, you know?
Well, thanks so much for sharing all of that with us. My gut is telling me that the woman you captured in this memoir so beautifully, even if it's rough, she's gonna love it, because I feel like in the memoir, the person you captured eventually learned, and I don't want to give anything away, but she loves you fiercely, and she's gonna be so fucking proud of you. She might even throw a little fit. You know how our Latina moms are. My mom is like a telenovela star when she's pissed, but then she'll come back and be like, you know what? I'm proud that you did this, or I'm proud that you did that. You know, and I think it's gonna be okay. It might be a little scary. She might knock down another door, but
I don't live there anymore, so I'm good. Well, honestly, thank you for saying that. The part about she might throw a fit, but eventually, because a lot of people, when I tell people that, are like, oh no, she'll probably be fine or blah, blah, blah. But like, just like I tried to do in my book, it's like, I wanted to acknowledge that like, shit might be hard, but it could possibly get better. Not necessarily, but it could. Or it might work out, or it might be worth it in the end, or it might deepen your relationship with her. So yeah, I'm hoping for the same. Like, I think she might like be upset at first, but also low key, she's not gonna read a book in English. So,
dude, use that to your advantage. I do that. You know, I'm like, oh hey mom, this says some rough stuff, but it says this really great stuff about you. You know, and then she goes, oh really? Okay. And nowadays she just laughs. Like she'll yell at me and say something inappropriate, and then she'll be like, go ahead, tell all your friends on Facebook I'm being abusive.
Yo, literally same.
Yeah, because she knows that when I like share stories about her, I get like, if I say something like, hey everyone, I just got this cool award, 1 like. If I share a funny story about my mom, it's like 300 likes. So she knows she's a little, just like your mom is soon to be gay famous in the literary world and throughout, you know, as more people read this book. And honestly, just in my gut, I know she's going to be so freaking proud of you. Honest, like she's gonna love it. She might not like reading some of the rough parts, but you know, she's really gonna be so happy that you did this. She might even like buy copies for all her friends. You never know. But yeah.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you. Really, I appreciate it.
Of course. Well, any last thought and any last words or any last things you want to say or tell our audience before we close out the evening?
Yes. I want to say, by the way, y'all do not go yet.
Don't go. Don't go anywhere. We still have a little bit more shit to do.
You do. I do want to say thank you so much to, I'm not going to cry. Actually, I cannot cry Well, I can cry when I have contacts on because my contacts absorb the tears. I know that sounds bleak, but it's true. You absorb the tears. I do want to say thank you. I want to give like some special thank yous to Sarah Lynn Rogers, my editor, Daniel Bukowski, my agent, Michael Salu, who designed this incredible cover that I didn't even realize sparkled until I got it in the mail. And then even if you open the book, like there's more inside. Like I've never seen that before. Thank you to Mensa at Soft School. Thank you to Arturo, Elise, Jason, the Florida squad. Thank you to, I'm not gonna have an Emmys moment. I just want to say thank you to everybody. And then everyone who's bought this, everybody who blurbed the book, thank you. Because half of y'all, I didn't even know y'all like that. I was like, would you do this? And you were like, sure. So thank you to that. Thank you to fucking Evan at the Booksmith. I really, really appreciate you hosting this. And yeah, I guess the last thing would be, I guess I want to introduce this other thing that's happening. This is before the show ends, which is, so we're still in a pandemic, obviously, and my friend Arturo, Havana Gold, if you've already read the book of Polylust Burlesque, did a very, very, very generously recorded a PSA on washing your hands. And I think especially right now with cases on the rise, this PSA is going to be very, very informative of you, to you. Oh my God, I'm drunk. But if you enjoyed this PSA, please tip at, oh my God, what is it? At Polylust on Venmo, and all tips are going to go to the Zebra Coalition, which is a queer organization based in Orlando that supports LGBTQ youth. So without further ado, Havana Gold and a hand washing PSA.
Maybe it's long. September rain comes to me again, just like sudden sadness comes hanging on the breeze. September rain falls on easy pain. All their little lovers here, and I down into your. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I support you.
You gave me talk to me like that.
22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30.
That was beautiful.
And that, straight people, is how we queers wash our hands.
I'm about to put in the chat Polylust. Okay, so that is who I would, if you would please tip at Polylust at Venmo, on Venmo. All tips will go to the Zebra Coalition. And if you tip at Polylust, maybe you already pre-ordered the book, email me like a screen grab or whatever, and I will also mail you nipple pasties.
Nipple pasties.
And then I guess the last thing I want to say is if you are in New York, specifically in Queens, because I know it's late on a Tuesday night, and you want to come out to Friends Tavern, I'm going there right now, and I'm gonna sign some books, and it's karaoke night, and yeah, we're just gonna have like a chill time, but like seriously no pressure. Yeah, it's mostly like Queens people because I'm literally walking 3 blocks to Friends. So yeah, Friends Tavern in Queens, Jackson Heights specifically.
Amazing. Thank you, Edgar. This has been such a wonderful evening. I've had so much fun. It's been so lovely. Thank you, Baruch, so much for hosting and leading it. It's always a pleasure to see you. Everybody, I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I have. If you don't have High-Risk Homosexual, you should be clicking through right now. This is your only chance to get nipple pasties from Edgar. Are you kidding me? From Booksmith, you can just click through the link right beneath the video. I'll also dump it in the chat shortly. I just want to thank you all for being here and congratulate you again, Edgar. It's such a wonderful book and I've enjoyed this evening so much. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Evan. I really, really appreciate you hosting this.
A pleasure. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Evan. You're a superstar.
And Baruch, I love you.
Night, everybody.
Oh my God, we're gonna hang out. Like either I'm on the East Coast or you come here. We'll do a Donde Está Mi Gente show together. We're gonna hang out. I think you're amazing. Thank you so much for letting me read your book and host this tonight. Congratulations. Felicidades.
Thank you, Baruch. I love you.
Quiero mucho.
All right,
Love
good night,
you.
everybody.
Have fun.
Bye, everyone.
Good night, everyone.